Yes, guys, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to this afternoon's live stream for the Chelsea versus Brentford preview. And finally, what feels like the longest international break for a while is done, and Chelsea will be back in action at Stamford Bridge tomorrow against Brentford. Unfortunately, this is going to be the last game where it's going to be a full Stamford Bridge for Chelsea fans in terms of the fact from the next home game onwards, it will only be season ticket holders attending. Really frustrating that license was not fully amended. And, it was only home games for the Champions League, unfortunately. So, yeah, this is going to be the last sort of game at Stamford Bridge, well, maybe this season, where all fans can attend that aren't season ticket holders. So, we've got to make sure it's a big occasion. And there's plenty to get into, as always, matters off the pitch, on the pitch, and the big month coming up for the club itself. And I'm delighted to be joined by Pice. Mate, thank you so much for giving me some of your time. I know you're a busy guy at the moment, so really appreciate it. Welcome back to the channel. Great to have you. There's only one place to start, mate. And this ownership business has been rumbling on for a while. I think about a month ago was when Roman was initially sanctioned. We've had the shortlist out from Rain. Obviously got Sir Martin Broughton's consortium, Todd Bowley's consortium, Stephen Pagliuca, and we've also got the Ricketts family. Stuff's come out that obviously Bruce Buck facilitated that meeting with Paul Cannonville, Chelsea's first black player and anti-racism ambassador for the club, which has not gone down too well there. And also subsequently transpired that obviously Ken Griffin, who is backing the Ricketts family, perhaps doesn't have as much capital behind him as perhaps you might have led us to believe. They've got on board the help of another US investment bank to potentially provide more funds for them. And then we've got the obvious issues with Pagliuca owning 55% of Atalanta, and the fact that also a member of parliament was saying that he feels that Pagliuca's bid should be chucked out because of mispractice that took place in South Africa, something that he subsequently denied. So yeah, it's all going on. Mate, where should we start? I mean, what have you made of the whole process as a whole up until this point? Because from my point of view, we've discussed this on another stream before. It's been a mess from as far as I'm clear. The perspective that no official communication from Rain. The list was leaked out by journalists. As and when we knew the 4-man list was out. For me, it's embarrassingly obvious that the most suitable candidate by a million miles is Todd Bowley, yet we've still got a short list of 4 where 3 aren't suitable candidates at all for varying reasons. I mean, what have you made of the way the process has been handled and how it's played out? Because obviously it's been very public. And as I said, I just feel like it's been a big mess.
Yeah, first off, thanks for having me on. Good to be back. And I believe, yeah, like you said, it's been kind of a mess. There's been a lot of stories, to be honest, and it's getting to the point now where I don't really know what to believe and when to believe it. Going back to one of the first ones, we got told that Chelsea don't really want to sell to a politically sensitive party. Anyone involved in politics, for example, wouldn't really be considered as highly as others. Yet here we are with a final 4 shortlisted bidders, with pretty much all of them, at least one person in their consortiums, has political views. So that really didn't make sense, and yeah, like as you said, Todd Bowley's group is kind of everyone keeps mentioning as the front runners, but then I just kind of think that back to the story again we got from Matt Law, that basically if Rain really wanted a fast sale, Todd Bowley's group believed that they could have been in charge for this game tomorrow. Yet here we are waiting until the week of April 18th, supposedly, until they decide a bidder. That's just to take it to the government, by the way. So yeah, it's been a slower process than I thought it would. Overall, I do agree it's been a bit of a mess because just varying factors, really. Like, the whole PR as well from the Ricketts coming out, like, it's been a nightmare, to be honest. I hope personally Todd Bowley wins, but I just feel like there's no guarantees anymore. Like, yeah, I don't really know what to believe because people are obviously getting fed PR and to the journalists, and it's just a load of nonsense going on, really.
No, as you say, it's hard to decipher what to believe and what to pick out. I mean, even just this morning, you've got an article being released, trying to, put Todd Bowley in the mud, about how he's got like a investment in a Russian betting firm that's still operating. And actually, if you read into it, it's not still operating. So, people are just out there to try and bring people down, trying to get dirt on all the varying consortiums, etc. And, if you dig deep enough, yeah, you might find something, like no one's trying to claim that, these billionaires are squeaky clean and everything's done by the book. It's not necessarily. You don't amass that vast amount of wealth by, doing things by the book per se without, being exploitative in one way or another. But it's very obvious that Todd Bowley's consortium is definitely what you'd say the front runner, the best candidate for the job, given the fact how the fans are very important, how winning's important, what he's done with the LA Dodgers. I know he's not a majority shareholder there. He's got 20% or so, but he's still a big part of that. But mate, I just wanted to divert it to the Ricketts family. I know I don't want to spend too much time on them, but what did you make when start of the week, I think it was either Monday or Tuesday, when it come out that Paul Cannonville had a meeting with the Ricketts, and he the terms used where he grilled them on their anti-racism, their racism views, etc., etc. And then it come out that had been facilitated by none other than Chelsea chairman Bruce Buck. What were your thoughts on that? Because, one, I think surely that's one, it's a breach of the bidding process as such. And the other consortiums have got every right to be kind of pissed off about it. And two, it also goes to show that, people need to kind of perhaps not wake up, but become a bit more accustomed to the fact that the Ricketts have actually got a much bigger chance than a lot of people want to allow themselves to believe.
Absolutely, as well. I mean, that just goes to show. I mean, Bruce Buck came out and denied the claims, of course, that he didn't breach any rules and things like that. But I mean, I don't know what's going on really at boardroom level, but it does seem a bit dodgy, like yeah, it's not great, to be honest with you. And now I guess that all the other bidders are going to have to obviously meet Bruce Buck, going to have to meet Thomas Tuchel, or at least speak to him to kind of make it seem like it's a fair process. But just on the outside, it's not really seeming like that to me.
No.
It kind of just seems something's a bit fishy about this whole process. Like, we got that report again from multiple journalists. Oh, Rain will consider the fans in the final decision. But yet, when the fans were outraged on social media, the two guys running the sale privated their Twitter accounts, so they clearly saw it. They clearly didn't take the fans into account in that situation because they then shortlisted the Ricketts. And as I said, this process could have been done. If Rain wanted to pick Todd Bowley, it could have been done by tomorrow. That was the report. That was, they had everything ready. They've had everything ready. But no, now they want, next bids. They want other people that didn't get into the final shortlist to join the consortiums. They want to see, improved offers. Like, it just seems a bit fishy to me that, the Ricketts have got through every single hurdle so far.
Yeah.
Like, the reports again, they'll keep doing their best to convince the fans. Like, we don't want you. Why go away? Like, you know what I mean? It's like they're persistent, and it just makes me think that if Todd Bowley was really going to win, would he have won already by now? Like, that's what I'm questioning because, as I said, it could have been done. Like, they have no hurdles. The Ricketts have lots of hurdles to overcome, mainly PR issues, and yet they still seem the ones that are pushing everything, that are meeting the executives, that are getting other shortlisted bidders angry. Like, I think, again, in a report, like one of the said, like one source said, and then quotation marks, like, if you just want the Ricketts to win now, can you just announce them now so we can get
Yeah.
over with this get over with this process? And because it's just something fishy about it, man. Like, it really is something
I
dodgy.
mean, the fact that, like, everything that's been put out on socials or is out there for public information for people to read, everything, that they've said in the past, their views, etc., how they run the Chicago Cubs, all that sort of thing, which is not just from a human perspective that their views don't align with the club values at all, but also, yes, they've got experience in running a club. They do it bloody terribly. You speak to any Chicago Cubs fans, hate the Ricketts. Any Chicago fan groups, of Chelsea fan groups over that area tell you terrible things about the Ricketts. These guys are not good on any level as owners. They don't tick any boxes or of any sort whatsoever. Yet, with all that information out there, with the No to Ricketts hashtag on socials, the protests, which we'll get into in a sec, and everything else, yet they still find themselves here. And then they're endorsed by the Chelsea chairman. Something doesn't, as you said, something doesn't feel right. Something doesn't add up. And it seems like, despite everything, it seems like Rain and potentially Bruce Buck are determined to get the Ricketts either into Chelsea or push them as close as possible. But I mean, yeah, I don't really know what to think about this anymore because, as you say, the fact is, with all that information out there, these guys should be nowhere near, and yet they're potentially as close as they could possibly be at the moment. I mean, have you given any thought at all, mate, to the fact that there could be a situation where we end up with the Ricketts?
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, they've overcome every hurdle so far. It's worrying to think about, but they're still in the race, and I guess that's why people have been planning protests. We are the shed. They're going to do the banner over the top of the shed tomorrow as the players emerge. But I mean, like the Ricketts seem persistent. Like they seem to not care whether the fans don't like them, and that's a big red flag because I keep thinking like, if I'm an owner, why would I want to own a football club if the fans hate me from day one, or not even day
Mm.
one? They're not even in yet. You know what I mean? So it's not even officially day one of their ownership. It's less than day one. People hate the idea of them coming in. Why would I want to be involved in that? It's obviously not for good intentions. Like, why would I just? There's so many questions, man. It's just, I don't know how to unravel it all. Really, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, why are they still in the race? Like, as you said, they tick no boxes. Their time as sporting owners has not been good with the Chicago Cubs. Like, yeah, they won a World Series in 2016, fair play, but there's also an argument. You've got to sustain that long term. You've got to have a sustain. Like Chelsea have sustainably won trophies every single season under Roman Abramovich. Yeah, we've had a couple of bad seasons, but the season after we've always bounced back.
Yeah.
15-16 next season we won the league. Who would have thought that? But that's Chelsea. That was Roman Abramovich. That was the team we had. That was our mentality. Like, I just don't want these guys B-Tech mentality here at this club. The just everything, as you said, Ken Griffin as well. I don't care if he's got 30 billion net worth. Supposedly, I mean, questions. Why has he joined up with the Ricketts? Why is he not? Yeah, it's just so much questions, man. I could go on all day, but
Yeah,
yeah,
there's a lot to unpack. I mean, the next step in the process, the next step for those trying to buy Chelsea is to submit Premier League approval documents tomorrow. I don't know quite what those documents are, what's entailed in them, but obviously that is the next stage to submit their documents to the Premier League. Moving on to, obviously, you mentioned that We Are the Shed are doing a banner over the ground tomorrow. There's also a protest that has been organised. Before the game tomorrow, I believe it's midday. What can you tell us about that, mate? Obviously a protest against the Ricketts family
yeah.
itself. What information can you provide on that? Obviously, I know it's been up on socials. I'll bring it up on the screen now. But yeah, just a little bit of information about that.
Yeah, 12 p.m. tomorrow at Stamford Gate, which is the same place as the Super League one. Basically, like us, you know, I don't like this phrase, but big accounts. I guess I sound big account, but
Yeah,
I don't like
yeah,
big. I don't like that phrase because I don't think numbers really matter in general. But
yeah. Mm.
yeah, all the big accounts kind of came together. The YouTube accounts, the Instagram accounts that obviously get a lot of views and stuff. We just all came together and thought like, what can we do? It was basically Matisse's idea, but he kind of got everyone into it who has a reach, and we thought, fuck it, like let's start a protest. If it works, great. If it doesn't, and it's a fail, at least we tried. Like at least we
Yeah,
tried to do something. We've given the opportunity for people to turn up, and make their voice heard. And because all we've got, like all of us, there's like 20 plus of us involved. When's the protest? We are the shed. Like, why are you not doing a protest? So we've organised one, and now it's up to people to go there, bring signs and banners, and just make your voice heard. There's obviously going to be media there. We don't know. Like we're still working on trying to get more people involved, like Facebook groups, Instagram groups, things like that. Because obviously the Europa Super League one was crazy, but like something we have to remember about the Super League one is people hadn't been out in a year anyway. Like outside,
yeah,
it was the pandemic. It was kind of a. Some people say to me it's kind of like an excuse just to get out and cause a bit of a ruckus anyway. So hopefully people feel so passionately about the cause and understand that, like, I think this is what we need to do now. We need to. Social media is great, but clearly it's not done enough to stop the bids. And now we need to, do what we are the shed doing, do what we're doing, get out there, do banners. It's the only thing we can do now. Because ultimately the board will have the final decision, not Rain. So we need to send a message to the board, and I think this is the only way we can do it. It really is. It's our last chance to kind of make an impact as such.
Yeah, no, 100%. And this is not just some kind of flash in the pan thing. This is so important on so many levels. This could shape the future of Chelsea for the next 10, 15, 20 years. I've said it before on the channel. I'll say it again. Like, when you spend 2.5, £3 billion or whatever currency you want to call it, this is not just for a couple of years and then move on. This is, these guys get in. This is the future of the club for generations. As I said, 10, 15, 20 years. We cannot have a situation where these guys are suddenly going to find themselves with the keys to Stamford Bridge and are going to be in for a long, long time. So, whatever your views are on big accounts or whatever you want to call it, people are doing something, and it's for the future of the club. And, the one thing that unites us all is we're all Chelsea, we're all big fans, we all want the best for the club. If you want the best for the club, then the Ricketts can be nowhere near it. So if you're in and around the area, tomorrow midday, get yourself down there. As Pi said, bring your banners, signs, whatever you want to bring, make your voices heard. And, together we have got a massive voice. We've stopped the Super League, and we can stop this, but it's going to require people to turn up and do their bit and make their feelings clear, because this is the future of the football club. Roman was here for what, 19 years, nearly 20 years. It could be a situation where the next owner's in for the same amount of time. This is a unique, perhaps once in a lifetime opportunity to own one of the biggest football clubs on the planet, and what is going to be so far the most expensive sporting club in the world until another one's potentially sold for more. So, you just got to get out there, get your voice heard, and as a fan base, unite together and do what's right for the future of the club. And what's right is making sure that the Ricketts get nowhere near there, and we protect the future of the club. We make sure that we're still successful. We invest in the playing squad. We perhaps, I'm not saying a new stadium, but we look to perhaps renovate or expand Stamford Bridge to enable us to get more fans in. So it's vitally important that if you're going to the game tomorrow, even if you're not, you live nearby, just get yourself down there midday and get your voices heard, because this is so important. It really is. It's getting to a point now where we're doing this. This is almost last chance saloon now. If this is successful, yeah, there could well be another one potentially. I don't know. But, it's really important that all the fans get themselves together and do their bit, because this is our chance, one of our only opportunities to, make sure that Chelsea Football Club ends up in the right hands and has a bright and successful future going forwards. I mean, mate, any more to add on the protest itself before we move on?
I mean, just like I say, don't be that guy. Like, if you live close enough to Stamford Bridge, don't be that guy that doesn't go and then moans a year down the line when they're in charge. Like, just do something. Do your best to do something. Even if, you don't know or you can't go yourself, and people that can go, like, just spread it as much as possible. Like, just do something, please. Because, like, it's just so important, honestly.
Yeah, no, 100%, guys. Make sure you're there Saturday, 12 p.m. Obviously, keep an eye out on Twitter. There'll be obviously all the information's there. If there's any further information to have, then obviously it will be on there. So make sure you stay across that. That's probably enough on the ownership side of things now. I'm sure there'll be updates in due course. We'll find out how the protest goes tomorrow, etc. But mate, moving back to matters on the pitch now. Unfortunately, Kai Havertz and Thomas Tuchel both missed out on Player of the Month and Manager of the Month, respectively, which is a bit of a shame, but not to worry. Ironically, since the sanctions were announced, Chelsea have been unbeaten in all their games. I believe it's 6 from 6. We returned to action against Brentford at Stamford Bridge. Mate, what have you made of the form? Well, realistically, form this year, and certainly since the sanctions. We're 6 from 6, and we look to be playing some of our best football at the moment. What have you made of it all?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of laughed when people said, "Oh, we're gonna do this whole siege mentality thing. Like, when we got sanctioned, I was like, oh shit, like the players are gonna be. I thought we'd look like, I don't know if just maybe draw more matches than we've
Yeah,
won, to be honest, because it's very rare we lose under Thomas Tuchel. I can't lie. Like, I think, yeah, we've only like we draw a shit ton of games, but I was looking back, like I can't remember the last time. I think obviously Carabao Cup final, but in the league, it's been a while since we lost.
yeah. I don't think we've
S
lost this year.
No, we haven't. I don't think.
No.
So yeah, I mean, it's been great. I mean, the players clearly are dedicated and focused on the games, and are not worrying too much about the sale, which is really a credit to Tuchel and his coaching staff. And I mean, overall, Tuchel has just been fantastic for how he's dealt with the media. And he's kind of making a mockery of all those people that said he wouldn't be able to deal with situations. He'd get angry because of his previous time as PSG and Dortmund manager. He'd lose the plot when something goes wrong. Like, he's just been exemplary. Honestly, he's not done. Like, there's not been a situation where I thought, yeah, he could have dealt with that a bit better. Like, not
Yeah,
none. He's so the media. He's so insane. Like, the thing I was obviously most impressed with it was the Lukaku situation,
yeah,
because I just thought, like, if I'm a manager, like, I'd lose my shit in press conferences. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
but
yeah,
he's not, like, he was so calm. He was so, like, he even said, like, we need to look at both sides of the story. Like, obviously there was stories coming out where he was fuming behind the scenes, but just the way he deals and
yeah,
approaches this media, you can clearly see that he's learned from previous experiences, and he's just this is why I love him so much, man, because he's got. You talk about the Ricketts ticking no box. Tuchel ticks every
yeah,
single box, and that's why I don't want them to join up, because I don't want absolute idiot owners, man. I just don't want it. Like, he
yeah.
doesn't deserve people like the Ricketts. That's what I mean.
No, no, it doesn't. And as you say, mate, he has been absolutely exemplary. I mean, to be honest, in his whole time he's been here so far, which is not that long, you know, you can count on like less than one hand, like the amount of kind of mistakes or things he's done wrong or poor games we've had. It's been very minimal. The impact he's had has been phenomenal. And as you said, the way he speaks in the media, how honest he is, like it's just a dream. And we need this guy to stick around for the next 5, 6, however many years it is, as long as he wants to be here, because we've got someone very special that could build something very special here as well. So it's vital we keep him around. I mean, obviously, start of April now, heading towards the business end of the season, 8 games to go in the Premier League. But I mean, Chelsea have got a packed month. I'm just going to bring our fixtures up on screen now. Obviously, we start with Brentford on Saturday. Then got Real Madrid, Southampton, Real Madrid, FA Cup semi-final, and then we follow that up with 2 London derbies against West Ham and Arsenal. I mean, mate, this is kind of make or break in our season now, isn't it? We're either looking at an FA Cup final and a Champions League semi-final, or we could potentially be out of 2 competitions at the end of this month and just be playing for 3rd place.
100%. That's why I keep saying, like, the league is a bit of a weird one, because, like, we're a few points ahead of Arsenal, and then, like, I think 5th place is on 51, whereas we're on
Yeah,
like 59 or something. So I don't see a way in hell how we would drop out the top 4. Like,
yeah,
the worst we could finish is 4th, but I still think we'll finish above Arsenal, which is, like, it's a bit of a weird one. Like, are we realistically gonna finish 2nd and catch Liverpool? I don't know. Like, they seem to be pretty relentless, trying to catch City. So yeah, the league's a bit of a weird one. But in terms of Champions League, like, that's where I can see our focus going, bro. Like, Real Madrid, it's going to be a crazy game. Um, yes, who else you got there? I mean, FA Cup said we got lucky in that draw, because
yeah,
obviously we could have
definitely.
got we could have
Yeah,
got City Liverpool, right? Is the other one. So I
yeah,
mean, yeah, that semi final, City and Liverpool, is going to be a great one. I don't know who's going to win that, but fuck it, like, I'll take either of them in the final, honestly, because I expect us to beat Crystal Palace. So
yeah, we should do.
yeah, I mean, like, just. We fear nobody, bro, and I think we'll find this out in the next few weeks. Like Real Madrid, we're not scared of them. We beat them last year. We're not scared of City or Liverpool. We can always both give them a game. So, I mean, yeah, what's there to be scared of? Like, Arsenal fans, obviously piping up, they're doing very well. Would like to give
Yeah.
them a humbling on the 20th. That would just be beautiful, honestly. Quieten them down a little bit, and then you've got West Ham, who I never like to drop points against. Only
Yeah.
only 4 days after, which is a bit crazy.
Oh, mate, it's like I say, the gap between the games is like all these games this month. We've got what 2, 4, 6, 7 games this month, and what the biggest gap between the games? What we're basically playing every 3 days this month, essentially.
Yeah, I kind of like this though because if you look at them, we've got a lot of home games,
Yeah,
and I know there's like, well, hopefully they sort the bloody tickets and amend the license out. But if they don't, at least we'll have, like I think is it 20? I think it was 28,000 season ticket holders
yeah, just
supposedly.
yeah, around that.
Yeah, so you can probably knock off a couple of thousand that won't go, but most of them should be there. And I like games at home, bro. Like
Yeah.
Arsenal and West Ham should be good ones to get points against. I think never like West Ham away. I'm glad we got that out of the way. Obviously, we lost, so
Mm.
bro, like yeah, I'd rather we got that out of the way. To be fair,
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, just looking ahead to the Brentford game, I mean, in the reverse fixture, Ben Chilwell scored the winner. Edouard Mendy had a fantastic game in goal. It was a tough game. I mean, a lot's changed since then. I mean, Brentford went for a bad patch. They seem to be kind of coming out the other side, picking up a few half decent results here and there. Obviously, got Christian Eriksen added to their squad. It's great to see him back playing football again. But I mean, to be honest, with the form we're in, we're at home, full house at Stamford Bridge. There shouldn't really be too many causes for concern in this type of game. But then, having said that, you're never too sure with Chelsea where you can dominate a game but still end up drawing, like we've seen many times this season already. I mean, are you envisaging quite a kind of straightforward afternoon, or could be a bit tougher than people expect?
I think the longer the game goes on without us scoring, I think it will get tough. I think if we score first, it could be a good afternoon. Could be a 3 or 4 nil. I think if we score in say the first 20 minutes, because I think
Yeah,
Brentford are not the team that sits back. They're not going to sit back. I don't think they'll try and obviously be as compact as possible because Thomas Frank is a good manager. But I don't know. It's a weird one with Brentford. I think it would be like 2-0 or something like that. Personally, I don't see us causing us very many problems. They've got good players, Ericsson, Ivan Tony, and stuff, but
yeah,
I trust our defense enough, and I think again with our attack, it depends. I mean, Lukaku might play because Havertz has played loads in
yeah.
international, so it could be a tough afternoon. But I think we should get the job done
Yeah, I
realistically.
think we've definitely got enough. Obviously, as we touched on, we got the game against Real Madrid on Wednesday night. I know it's Saturday to Wednesday. It's like what 3 days, virtually 4 days, because the game is on Wednesday night. I mean, do you think that Real Madrid game is going to have any bearing on the lineup picked by Tuchel, or do you think we've got enough time between these games that actually we can go full strength in this one, or as full strength as possible, and that shouldn't really be a problem in terms of recovery for Real Madrid?
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting one because whenever we've had like a game where it's less important than the next one, I always think we're going to rotate. But it almost seems to me like Tuchel tries to go as strong in every single game
Hmm.
as possible. So I mean, yeah, like just thinking of the lineup, like I think in the press conference he said like he's not sure if Pulisic is going to play, obviously, because he played a lot in the
Yeah, played
international break.
three
Three
times, didn't he?
matches,
Yeah.
yeah, scored a hat trick as well. He's on
Hmm.
great form. Hudson Odoi's out as well, so I mean, could see Werner again,
No,
I guess,
hopefully
on the
not. I
left
hope
hand side.
not.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. I think obviously whatever team we put out is going to be strong, but I suppose, I mean, I'm sure there'll be some sort of thought for Real Madrid because, if you get like a key player injured, like this is why I think Lukaku's going to start because I think
Yeah.
if you want Havertz against Real Madrid, twisting their defenders, making them move about and stuff. So yeah, I think maybe he'll rest Havertz and maybe Reece James as well. He said he's in contention, but I don't think, I just play him against Real Madrid, maybe sub him on tomorrow.
Yeah.
Maybe 60 minutes, get some minutes his legs, and then start Real Madrid. So I trust Tuchel, to be honest. He'll make smart decisions.
Yeah, no, he always does, and even when you think like, what's he doing? It then it then turns out to be
Yeah.
like he's done
You're
something.
like,
He's done it well.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you're like, why are you bringing this player on? Then he goes and
yeah.
assists the winner or something. You're like, fair play.
I mean, just talking of subs very quickly. Obviously, come out the other day that I think it's finally gone through the vote. The majority. I think this has gone to a vote like 3 or 4 times now. There will be 5 substitutions in the Premier League next season. I mean, we've spoken about this before. You a fan of that? Glad it's finally happening.
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't really care as much as others. I mean,
Yeah.
I personally think 3 subs, if you time them well, and is good enough. Sometimes, obviously, with injuries and things, you make 3 subs sometimes during the season, and you're like, oh shit, we might have to play with 10 men or whatever
Yeah.
because you can't make a fourth. So I guess that's the main thing with it. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't help the smaller clubs playing against the bigger clubs, that's for sure. Because the bigger clubs naturally have more depth, and I mean, it's great for City, of course, because
Mm.
they can chuck five players on now, and they've just got an insane squad. So yeah, it's more reason for squad depth as well, more reason for more signings because you've then got more options off the bench now.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it's the right thing to do, player welfare, the sheer amount of games you've got coming up. And also, it's an opportunity where, if you've made 3 subs, even if you're cruising in a game like 3 or 4-0, you've got an opportunity to chuck a couple of youngsters on to get some experience that, they might not otherwise get. So I think ultimately, on the whole, it's definitely a positive, and it's a step in the right direction for sure. Right, mate, let's get into the team selection then. Starting with goalkeeper, obviously going to be Edouard Mendy. Had a good international break. Senegal qualified for the World Cup. Was saved a decisive penalty in the shootout. So very straightforward there. He slots in between the sticks. Mate, are you expecting this to be I mean, I've got it up as a back five. Are you expecting us to go the back five? Could you potentially see any case for a back four, maybe?
I mean, it's hard to predict with Tuchel, and it's going to be
Mm.
harder, and even next season, I think, because I think in pre-season he's going to have even more time to work on different formations. But
Yeah,
no, I think it will be. I don't like calling it a back five. It's more of a
back
back
three, isn't it?
three for
Yeah,
me because,
yeah,
like, whenever I say like a back five, I kind of think more defensive. But ours
yeah.
is like even with our back three, like I mean, our centre backs like Rudiger and the left and right hand side, they push up so far that it's a really attacking back three. I always think, especially when you've got Chilwell and James fit. But yeah, I think it'll be a back three/5, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Just before we get into that, just wanted your thoughts on Rudiger's agent being spotted the other day, being in talks with Barcelona potentially. Obviously, Christensen's all but gone there. They've got a deal on the table for Aspilicueta. Nothing's come of that as of yet. And now, obviously, Rudiger's agent was in talks with Barcelona. I mean, what are you making of that? Barcelona obviously trying to sign our Champions League winning back three for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, these Barca guys, man, trying to take Aspi, trying to take Christensen, trying to take Rudiger, like,
But they're
like,
relentless.
bro, like, yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that Rudiger's agent's meeting people. I mean, naturally, he's going to be a free agent, so of course he's
Yeah,
going to listen to other proposals. I think people just got a bit scared because it was captured on camera, So
yeah,
I mean, it's a pretty normal thing. Think it came out after as well that they won't be able to meet his demands anyway. So
yeah,
um, yeah, who cares really? I think with Rudiger, it's like he's going to wait until the new owner comes in, I think, and then he'll decide. I think that'll be
yeah,
when the decision is. And why wouldn't you? I mean, like, at least see who the new owner is, talk to them, and then decide. Don't need to rush into a decision. So it's a bit different with Aspi, I feel like, because he's been here so long and he kind of
yeah.
like, it doesn't really matter to him who the next owner is because he's like, was he 32 or 33?
I think
So
he's only going to have like maybe one more
yeah, I
season
mean,
here anyway.
I'd love him to stay, obviously,
Yeah,
even if he doesn't play as much because he's still very consistent. So yeah, I just want everyone to stay as possible, really. But it looks like Christensen's going to go,
yeah. I think
which is
that's
it's a
done
bit of a
pretty
shame,
much.
to be honest. But is what it is, isn't it?
Is how it goes. The biggest shame for me of Christensen going is the fact that like he's probably a 50-60 million pound defender, and we're going to get nothing for him. That's
Yeah,
the most annoying thing about it for me. Just on Aspilicueta, things coming out yesterday saying that the option for the new 1 year deal has been triggered by the amount of appearances he's made, but that's not that's not a confirmation that he's staying, is it? Because there's been nothing official from the club or himself. That's just the fact that he's made enough appearances to activate that extra year, isn't it?
yeah. It's good in a sense though, because I mean, it doesn't. It's not like we. I don't know if we've handed him another contract or was preparing one before that anyway, but
Yeah,
um, it's good that it's like official. It's just kicked in instantly, so he can
yeah,
stay if he wants to. I guess that's the good thing about it. You don't really have to renegotiate. It's like an automatic thing. So
yeah.
yeah, it saves time for the club.
No, 100%. I'm moving into that back three then. Obviously, Rudiger is going to be one of those. Thiago Silva, I don't know if you've seen anything in the press conference on him. He doesn't tend to normally play the first game back after he's been away with Brazil. I mean, have you seen anything or come across anything that would suggest that he's going to miss this game?
I think Tuchel said he's in contention to start
Yeah.
actually. So I
Oh,
mean,
fair.
whether he starts, it's like another one. I think rest him for Real Madrid. Like we need Thiago Silva
Yeah.
against Benzema, so don't even like bother risking him. Like I mean, could say that for Rudiger as well, but like I think Rudiger's obviously a bit younger. He's more durable. Although
Yeah.
to be fair to Thiago Silva, this guy like. He can play tomorrow. He can play Real Madrid. He can play the next game after and
No, he can
start all
play all
three.
of
Like
them.
he's a
Yeah.
joke. He's an absolute joke in the way he handles his body, bro. He's insane. I've been so impressed with him. Like, yeah, his durability for his age is just outrageous. It's like, yeah, it just reminds me of John Terry, bro. I make this
Yeah.
comparison all the time. He's just the Brazilian JT, honestly. He
Mate,
really is.
it's a shame we never got to see him play together. That would have been
Oh my days.
unbelievable. But I mean, but let's stick him in. That third slot, then we've obviously got potential for Aspilicueta potentially. We've also got potential for Malang Sarr maybe. Christensen, Chalobah. Chalobah has obviously been no international football for him. He was playing quite a bit before the break. A few mistakes were creeping into his game, giving away a few penalties, making a few errors as such. For that third slot, I mean, what are you who do you think's going to get the nod there? Would you go with Christensen? Would you go Chalobah, or would you go someone else? Maybe Malang Sarr.
Um, yeah, this is another interesting one because I think the ideal back three I want for Real Madrid is Rudiger, Silva, Christensen.
Yeah,
But now you know what? I'd play Chalobah in this game. I know he's been a
yeah,
bit dodgy recently, but I don't know. Like I don't want to give up on Chalobah. That's the last thing I want to do. I still think he's a good player. And he was an immense at the start of the season. He was so
yeah,
consistent, bro. Like no one could get past him. It's just recently that he's had a bit of troubles. But when you think of Brentford's team, like Rico Henry, I think his name is, will be
yeah.
attacking down that side. Obviously, you've got Tony, but yeah, I think you rest Christensen.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, and then moving on to the fullbacks, Reece James in contention. Having rushed him back a little bit before and then he picks up the injury against Burnley. I mean, from my personal perspective, I'd want to make sure that he's 100% fit for Real Madrid. And as you said, we can always bring him on the bench, off the bench for a few minutes if the game's, we need something from the game or the game's done and dusted. So, I mean, I'd personally go with Aspie at right wing back. I mean, are you thinking the same, or do you think, oh, do you know what, just chuck Reece James in and go for it?
No, I wouldn't play Reece James.
No, I wouldn't either.
But the thing is, as well, I'm kind of thinking you kind of want Aspie against Real Madrid as well. Like you kind of want as much
Yeah.
experience. Maybe Aspie plays on the left against Real Madrid and Reece on the right.
Mm.
Could be something we see. I mean, Tuchel's done that before. Um, yeah, it's a hard one because I'm thinking more of Real Madrid. Really, like what do I want to happen in that game and trying to keep as many players rested as possible. Yeah, there's not really much options, is there?
No,
Has to be
there's
Aspie,
not.
I guess.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, yeah, moving to the left-hand side, probably even less options here. I don't think it's going to be Sal Niguez. Marcos Alonso actually got 2 assists for Spain in the most recent match over the international break. Yeah, he's a scapegoat. He's quite an easy target sometimes, and rightly so. He's put in some terrible performance recently, but then you can see what he does when he played in the Carabao Cup final. There is ability there. He can put a performance in, but just not on a consistent basis. You expecting him to continue at left wing back? I mean, just basically because there's no other options.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think you could see someone like Saul in this game. Actually, I think
Yeah, maybe.
because then you have Alonso rested for Real Madrid. Like it just depends on how much Tuchel wants to rest players. Like
Mm.
it's a hard one, isn't it? Aspin Alonso, just oh my god, I hate seeing this, bro. Yeah, no offense, but like, please, it's like 2022. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
nice.
Aspin Saul's not much of a
No,
tasty, is it?
that's
Like,
not
I'm
really
just
any
trying to
better, is
hydrate.
it? Oh,
It's not getting much better, but
no, it's not. I
um,
mean, to be fair, like whether it, I mean, I think I'd rather Alonso than Saul there, if we're being honest.
yeah,
I mean,
suppose so.
there's not really a lot in it. I mean, yeah, I say Aspie in this game for me over Reece James. I just don't want him to pick up any injuries before Real Madrid. That would be a worst case scenario. Moving into midfield then. Two-man pivot, it's most likely to be, we would think. Mateo Kovacic, for me, probably one of Chelsea's best players this season, and arguably one of the first names on the team sheet at the moment. Like when he doesn't play in that midfield, you can see what's missing. Energy, high press, has got a great pass, bursts forward, and also breaks up the play pretty well. I mean, for me, he's one of the first names on the team sheet. I mean, for you, is he a shoe-in to start tomorrow? Has to play?
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be Kovacic and Jorginho because
Yeah,
Jorginho came back early as well. I think he'll play Kante in the Real Madrid game and rest him
yeah.
for this. And then obviously the other one's up for debate on Wednesday. But yeah, I think these will be the two tomorrow.
I mean, what have you made of Jorginho recently, mate? Obviously
Uh,
his
yeah,
form's not been that. It's not been as good as it
not
has
been good.
been in the first
No,
part of the season. He has struggled a little bit.
definitely.
Obviously, still a good player, but yeah, he has struggled for form. I mean, like I can't really put my finger on why that is. But then he's not played that well, but he's picked out two unbelievable assists. The one for Kai Havertz against Newcastle, and the one for Pulisic away at Lille. So he has got quality in his locker, but the overall 90-minute performances that are usually pretty consistent and quite good, he hasn't put together a decent 90 minutes for a while now.
Absolutely agree. He's just been getting skinned a lot easier as well. Like, yeah, he's always had the ability to get overrun and outmuscled and things, but
Mm.
I don't know. I just felt like the last few weeks, I just felt like his impact on games has lessened. Really, like he's kind of, I don't know. Like I think Jorginho has always been an important player for Chelsea, but yeah, I don't know. It's just been a bit average recently.
Yeah, no, I
Not
would
really as
agree.
impactful. I mean, obviously you have to give him the assist to Havertz against
Yeah.
Newcastle. That was fantastic, but yeah, definitely not as good. Like not on the best form. I'd say. Yeah,
No,
I'd agree.
definitely room for improvement, for sure. I mean, mate, let's move into that front three then. Starting on the right hand side, I mean, Mason Mount played for England against. I think he played against Switzerland. I'm not sure if he played at all against the Ivory Coast. I've got to be honest, I didn't watch him because I hate international football. But I think he definitely played a part against Switzerland. Mate, do you think Mount's going to start this game, or do we think we could maybe see Hakim Ziyech start on that right hand side? The fact, no international football for him, he had a chance to get some consistent training in at Cobham, work on a few bits and pieces. And as we alluded to earlier, Real Madrid game on the horizon, which you'd think Mason Mount would definitely start. I guess, mate, what do you think, Mount or Ziyech?
I would go with Ziyech,
Yeah,
but I mean, in terms of Real Madrid, I think Ziyech or Mount. I don't care who plays. I think Ziyech in big games is very, very good.
yeah,
And obviously, I think Mount has that mentality in big games that he's kind of up for it. So yeah, it's definitely a debate. I mean, they might even both play. It might
yeah.
just
Could both play.
he
Yeah,
might he might be Mount on the left, Ziyech on the right. Um, but yeah, I'll go with Mount to be rested this game. Although
yeah.
it just seems weird to me, like Mount resting after playing. He didn't play that much for
No,
England, so
I don't think he played at all against Ivory Coast, or if he did, he
no,
must
he
have played
didn't. He
it.
was
He didn't
rested.
play at all, did he? No. So
No,
yeah, I mean,
I'll go with I'll go with Mount on the left, Ziyech on the right for this game. I
yeah,
think.
let's do it. I mean, yeah, because I mean, we presume that unfortunately Christian Pulisic, who's in great form, he's played a lot for the US. But they literally played a qualifier, Wednesday or Thursday night, or something ridiculous. He's played 3 times over the break. A lot of travelling involved in there as well. It would be great for him to get to feature some minutes, maybe from the bench or something. But ideally, we'd like him to be fully fresh for Real Madrid. I don't want Timo Werner anywhere near the Chelsea starting lineup. And we presume that. I mean, mate, what do we think? Obviously, Kai Havertz had a fantastic March. Goals, assists, great performances, really coming of age. He played a lot over the international break as well. Do we think, mate, there's a chance or a big opportunity here for Romelu Lukaku to get a rare start in the Premier League?
Absolutely. I think he's nailed on to start in this game. Especially because I think Tuchel was praising Lukaku in this press conference. So when he does
Yeah.
that, kind of little confidence boost, it
Mm.
usually means someone's going to start. I think he'll start. He's not been in national football. He's been training the whole time.
Yeah.
Havertz has been playing. Havertz is going to play Real Madrid. Lukaku starts this game 100%. I'd be shocked if he doesn't. Like, there's something seriously wrong if he doesn't start because everything makes sense for him to start in this game.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, and just on Lukaku, mate, what have you made of him recently? I know that interview stuff with everything that's going on now in regards to the ownership, all that seems to be, like kind of in the past as such. No one's really talking about it anymore for obvious reasons with everything else that's going on. A couple of goals in the FA Cup when he's played against Luton, against Middlesbrough. And he has shown some signs of improvement. Arguably did score the winning goal in the Carabao Cup final, wrongly ruled out for offside. I thought he was good in that cameo when he came off the bench. He has shown signs of improvement. I mean, in the remainder of the season, we've got a lot of big games coming up. He's still got a big role to play, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he does. One little Havertz injury, even if it's for 2 weeks, Lukaku's got
Mm.
to step up. So yeah, I mean, I still can't figure out Lukaku, to be honest. What's gone
Yeah.
wrong exactly? I mean, when we signed him, I thought this is like the most guaranteed goal machine you're ever going to sign. I mean, even
Yeah.
he was more of a guarantee than Haaland for me, just for the fact that he'd been in the Premier League. He was coming back with to prove people wrong, and he's kind of like, yeah, he's definitely flopped so far. I mean, he's not been great.
Yeah.
It doesn't suit our style of play, especially really in the possession style of play we do play. He suits more of a counter-attacking system, but even the times we have played, like I remember the 3-5-2 against Man City, bro, where we was defensive and trying to hit them on the counter-attacks
Yeah.
at home. He was awful. He played
Yeah.
up top with Werner, like they had no connection, and it's hard as well. I do give him a bit of leeway because like he hasn't had a solid run with someone for like 5 games to build that connection. But at the same
Mm.
time, look at example like Pulisic, who was playing right wing back and left wing back. The
Yeah.
minute he got to left wing, he performed. Like
Mm.
Lukaku, like needs to. He's in his favoured position. He's got enough experience to know what to do to impact the game, and he just hasn't been. He hasn't been impactful. He hasn't been that scary defender who wants to take authority. Like even in the Middlesbrough game, right? I was noticing like he scored the goal and he played a little bit better and stuff, but there was a time like even his like reaction time and speed to things like corner came in, like he's just not as like bang on
Mm.
it and deadly. Like I'm reacting to like you know what I mean. Like Lukaku was just such a ruthless killer back in his Everton days, bro. Like I know it's been a long time, but even Man United, bro, when he was slandered, he still got 12 and 16 Premier League goals for them, and it's
Yeah.
like I just don't understand how you can get 5 or 6 Premier League goals. It's like what's going on here? Like he started really well as well. Like he was
Mate, he was killing it.
yeah, even Aston Villa, bro. He had like 2 shots, scored 2 goals.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, man.
The goal against Arsenal, obviously got a winner against Zenit in the Champions League early on. Like I don't know what's going on because as you say, mate, when we signed him, you're thinking like, fuck, this is it. We're going to be cooking this season. We're going to be everything's the same as last season. We'll have a bit more experience under our belts playing under this manager, and we've added a proven goal scoring machine who scores goals everywhere he goes. And yet, it's been a complete opposite. It's just I don't want to say it's been a disaster because I think that's a little bit harsh, but it's not been what we expected it to be, and there's a number of reasons for that. System, etc. Lukaku work rate, attitude, perhaps needs to be body language needs to be improved for sure. But I mean, I'm still of the opinion that this can work out. I don't know if that's because I'm just being hopeful and I want it to work out, or what it is, but just part of me just thinks, we can unlock this, and the quality is there in the player, to be a success at Chelsea. And I think for the money spent, I don't think we're gonna. I'll be very surprised if we took a loss on him this summer and moved him on. But I mean, stranger things have happened at Chelsea. Just last thing on this before we wrap up, mate. Do you think there's a chance Lukaku sold this summer?
Tough one to say, but I mean, definitely a possibility now that Roman's going to be going because at the end of the day, it's Roman's investment.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I think there's more of a possibility because I mean, new owners could come in, look at the squad, and they might just say, "Oh fuck it, sell Lukaku for 60 million. There's
Yeah.
60 million towards your transfer budget." Like they could easily do that. Again, I mean, like, what's the point really of him staying here if he doesn't want
Yeah.
to? You know what I mean? Like, if Havertz is like our guy, and I think I don't know because the thing is, like, if we sell Lukaku, I just know we'll sign another striker, and then it's like, well, like, what was the point in play? Like, obviously we have to play Havertz now because he's so better, but like, then Havertz is going to be moved around, and you're thinking, well, that then causes a problem for Havertz because the new striker will then get priority because we'll want him to succeed. Havertz will be probably
Yeah.
pushed out on the right hand side again because I still believe we'll use this formation a lot next season.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, that's the thing with us. It's like signings are not properly planned out. Like
No.
We've got Brozier as well. What are we going to do with him? You know what I mean? Like it, this is why I'm like hoping Todd Bowley comes in because he's got Daniel Finkelstein as well, who's like really big on like football data. Like he's wrote like columns and stuff. Like
Yeah.
he's worked with, like I just feel like our signings will be more structured. Like will Marina stay? Will they employ someone else? Like it's too hard to tell at the moment, really.
Yeah, no, it really is. But one thing's for certain, as you say, mate, there does need to be a bit of an overhaul of the way we recruit because, if we're being honest, more often than not, the big money we've spent on players hasn't worked out. Our best signings have been player. I know the market's slightly changed now, and prices a few years ago aren't what they would be now. But the fact of the matter is, our best signings have been players that we've not spent a lot of money on. I know Kai Havertz could go on to be a great signing, but at the moment, it's not the return on investment is not, hasn't reached the levels that we'd like it to yet. There's time to do that, and I fully believe that he will do that. But you look at the big money signings over the years, and it's not really worked out, and it does make you wonder, who's planning this activity? Who's scouting these players and thinking, yeah, this is going to be a good signing? Because even just going to Lukaku, we knew exactly what we were signing when we signed him. We know what he does. We know what his strengths are. And yet we're not really doing anything to try and get the best out of his game. So just for me, I think we need to be a lot more smarter in the window. There's a lot of players that are going to be available on free transfers this summer, and a lot of very good ones as well. So I think maybe we could look to exploit that market and do a little bit there. Just very quickly, mate, before we wrap up, two players I just want some quick thoughts on. I don't know how likely it is to happen. Both available on frees. Paul Pogba and Paulo Dybala. Does that excite you at all? Is that something you think Chelsea should be looking at potentially, either of those players?
I mean, those sort of caliber players always excite me, but I think Pogba's really a luxury player that you add
Yeah,
on top of, like our need for a DM. Really, I think, you could add Pogba on top of a DM, on top of Kovacic. I
yeah,
think I don't know if Jorginho will leave. I have a feeling he might do.
yeah,
So Kante as well. Yeah, I mean Pogba and Kante is insane for France,
yeah.
but
It's good.
um, yeah, I don't think he's like you'd want to make another midfield signing before him. Like I don't think he
Yeah,
should be our only midfield signing because I just think again lack of balance. Like he's not a DM, is he? He's like a luxury
no,
player that um, is you sprinkle on top of the already good midfield basically and make it even better. So yeah, and Dybala's an interesting one because again, I really really rate him. He's 28 now, but I still rate him highly. I just again position wise, like where does he fit?
yeah,
I think actually the inside forward role in our 3-4-3 could be really good for him, kind
mm.
of off the left hand side or the right hand side really. Because he played on the left a couple of seasons ago for Juventus, but
Yeah,
again for me, like he's kind of like that João Felix type player, kind of like a
yeah,
false nine, and we've already kind of got Havertz, or we're using Havertz for that at the moment, and I don't know, like it's not immediately standing out to me as like, yeah, that would be a great fit. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
think
for
again
sure.
that would be like one where you just kind of you have to work things out. Like again, it's planning, bro. Like Well, I don't trust our planning and haven't done for years.
Yeah, but
Because
the planning's
well,
poor.
when you go into a season, you think, "Oh, our squad's great." It's only until you start playing matches that you think, "Well, oh, he's great," but the other one, he's fucked now because look, where's
Yeah,
he fit? Like it's like why
yeah,
can't you look at Liverpool and City? They fit everyone in.
yeah,
Everyone like no matter what lineup they put out, everyone's in their best position.
yeah, for
Everyone
sure.
knows their role. Like we're not like that, Like Ziyech, great player. He's better than four at the back. Mason Mount, great player. He's really a midfielder. He's not even an
Yeah,
attacker, is he? Timo Werner plays. He likes to play off a second striker. When do we ever play two up top? Not very often.
yeah,
Havertz better up front than off the right or the left. But then you've got Lukaku who doesn't play. So it's like
yeah.
it just doesn't make sense, really, does it?
No,
A lot
mate,
of our signings.
no, it doesn't at all. I mean, I was like, before the season started, I was looking at our squad. I was thinking, like, do you know what? This squad's unbelievable. Like, this is one of the best squads you've ever had. And then as the season's played out, I've like more and more changed my mind that actually this squad has got quality, but it's horrifically unbalanced. It's overpopulated in certain areas and massively underpopulated in other areas. Like the balance of the squad is actually quite poor. But it's taken me a little bit of a while to realise that. I was well excited to start the season. Yeah, this squad's class, and it is good, but it's very unbalanced, particularly in some key areas. And hopefully that can be addressed over the summer for sure. That seems like a good point to round out. Pice, thank you so much, mate, for your time. Really appreciate it. Guys, make sure you check out his Twitter, relentless work rate on there, all your Chelsea news, probably the busiest man on Twitter. So make sure you follow his page. I've got it across the banner and linked in the description. And the website, Chelsea 365, is also linked in there. So make sure you head over there and check it out. Remember, tomorrow, 12 p.m. midday, if you're going to the game, or if you're even if you haven't got a ticket and you live in the area or not too far from the ground, make sure you get down to Stamford Bridge, get your voices heard, take your signs, your banners, or whatever you're taking with you, and make sure you get your voices heard. No to Ricketts, and hopefully the protest can do some good and put a stop to the Ricketts getting anywhere near Chelsea. For myself, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for getting involved in the chat. Sorry I've not brought any comments up. Do really appreciate you guys getting involved in that. Please do slash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you over the weekend for the match reaction and player ratings to the Brentford games tomorrow. But until then, Pice, cheers, mate. Up the Chelsea and no to Ricketts.